All right, guys, I'm here. What's your name?
My name's Anthony.
I'm here with Anthony. He spoke tonight, actually not about the mask mandates, but he spoke about some things that are happening with his kids in the school district. Is your daughter or your son? Let's step off over here.
Yeah.
So Anthony had a situation with his son that has to do with comprehensive sex ed and critical theory, and he came to speak to the school board about it tonight. So Anthony, tell us what has been happening with your son since the start of the school year.
Yeah, absolutely. My son is an 11-year-old at Bachman Middle School. He's a 6th grader.
And that's in the Farmington School District, which is what school district number?
192.
192.
And he has been introduced to gender inclusivity, gender exclusivity.
And how old is your son again?
11.
11, okay.
And he has been informed about how to use proper pronouns when addressing any individual in his school.
Not in the context of language or proper grammar or anything, but in socio-cultural context.
In the transgender LGBTQ context, not the grammatical context.
Okay.
He has had no education of this whatsoever from either parent, from any conversations outside of what's happened on day one from school. His mother and I have never had a conversation with him about any sexual education stuff because he's 11 and he has no idea about any of that because he's not mentally, physically, or emotionally capable of understanding these concepts.
Right.
In the school, they're trying to teach inclusivity and understand that the ones that want to be called they, their, them, or anything else takes precedent over how the other students feel.
Okay.
Full disclosure, anybody can be called what they want. I have no...
You don't have a dog in that hunt.
Right, I don't care what anybody wants to be called. The problem I have is that they're teaching my son things that us as parents don't want our children to learn until they're mature enough to do it.
Or when you're ready to teach it.
Or when we're ready to teach it
Yeah.
as well. And it's coming to where every day my son is asking questions about what this means. He's being taught this in classes. They're taking polls on this in classes. They're making it part of the curriculum for everyday usage.
Is this bothering him?
Yes.
Yep.
It's extremely bothering him. He came home, the last one where he was ridiculed by a teacher for saying they, or saying she instead of they. A student aid teacher came in and snapped at him, yelled at him, said, "You will be respectful of what this person wants to be called." And he said, "I didn't understand what was going on." So he texted me and said, "Dad, I got in trouble." And then came home and talked to his mom and was crying about not understanding what that meant because he was taught grammatic correctness,
right,
and not his correctness.
And Anthony, right? If I remember what you said inside correctly, you actually contacted the school about this and talked to the principal, and the principal denies that ever happened.
Correct.
So the implication is that your 11-year-old son made that all up and is lying to you for some reason. That's the implication.
What she is saying is that my son is saying that this happened in school with the teaching the pronouns, and it was on the whiteboard in the school. Megan Blasick has said that that's not something that they teach, that the teacher will ask questions of it and be inclusive of the students that want to be identified as something, but there's no general conversation after that, which is not the case after talking.
Who's your son's teacher?
There's several of them.
Okay, if you don't want to, but I'm one of those people.
I couldn't give you the name of them right now. It's just, there's a couple of them that I couldn't give, but
11th grade in the Farmington school, or 11 years old in the Farmington School District. That's pretty. It's going to narrow it down.
Right, and it's at the Bachman Middle School. So
yeah.
The idea is that it's going to be taught every day, and like I said, he's not learning anything that he's supposed to be learning. He's learning about stuff that he's not ready for.
And you're asking him, have you learned this? Have you learned that? And he's like, no, this is what we talk about in
he's
class.
Told us several times that he's more focused on that and worried about not offending somebody because he'll get in trouble in school, or trying to comprehend why he has to say things a certain way because he's going to get in trouble, or somebody's going to ridicule him or make him feel dumb for not knowing.
And that gets under the skin of a parent.
Yes.
Yeah. And so how long is it, this has been going on since the beginning of the school year, since day one of the school year, probably was going on at the end of the school year last year.
No, it wasn't, in the elementary schools it wasn't.
Okay. So day one.
Yes.
And how long have you held it in?
Oh no, we called day one.
But this is your first time coming and speaking about it? Okay.
We just found out that you could go to the school board. This is the first opportunity that we got to speak, and if it doesn't...
Are you coming back?
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll continue to talk to Megan, we'll continue to talk to Mr. Berg and say, until you identify what you're expressing to our children and what you're teaching them, we're going to make sure that we hold you accountable for what you're going to
have you heard of Data Practices Act requests?
I haven't.
Okay, so you are entitled by Minnesota state statute to file a data practices request and request the entire curriculum of your child's grade level for the entire year.
Correct.
You can go and do that, and you can actually also do data practices requests for all internal communications for the entire school district as it regards this kind of curriculum, and they have to give it to you.
I did not know that. That's good to know.
So, and that's for everybody who might be going through this, because this is happening in every school district. Anthony, if anybody from your school district or any other school district in Minnesota or actually in the United States right now happens to see this, which we'll get like 5. So, but would you encourage them to get involved and not sit on the sidelines anymore?
Correct. And I would encourage them to find out what they're teaching their children, because like I said, before you know it, your son or daughter is going to have a different understanding from somebody inside their school than what you hold principle and what you hold true. And like I said, I don't care what anybody wants to be called. I support anybody in any decision they make in life, but I don't support people teaching my son their values.
Right. So you want your value. You don't necessarily want the school district to teach your values to the students, but you also don't want your values undermined.
Right.
Which is what's happening.
Correct.
And as one other person brought up, so now these kids are going to school for 8 hours a day or whatever, how many ever hours it is, and they're hearing that you don't have to follow those values. You follow our values while you're here. That has to be terribly conflicting, which even if your son's being taught stuff in a normal educational curriculum, that's very hard for him to concentrate on when he's spending all of his time being nervous about upsetting someone and getting in trouble. Awesome. I appreciate it, Anthony. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.